Alex's mastery of blue let him conjure negative infinite gravitational force crushing, collapsing, unstoppable. But now, in a desperate push beyond limits, he attempts its opposite, the cursed technique reversal, red. Instead of pulling, it repels with explosive positive energy. Theoretically, it's achievable. But unlike those who train for years, Alex only has 23% synchronization with the template-just fragments of instinct and scattered memories to rely on. With six eyes guiding him and cursed power reversing inside him, he channels it through the same pathway. A black-red singularity forms at his fingertip. Unstable, volatile. Just when it threatens to collapse, Alex grins coldly then, with precise energy control and absorption, he stabilizes it. A moment of absolute defiance, a villain sculpting cosmic force with nothing but will. Crack! From the unstable singularity erupted black and red lightning, tearing through the earth with devastating force-deep fissures, split the ground for dozens of meters. Soldiers caught in the blast were shredded by the twisted gravitational shockwaves. Even Alex, the one who unleashed it, wasn't immune. The violent discharge tore at his body, only for it to reconstruct itself instantly under the reverse technique's regenerative flow. On the brink of collapse, as his energy dwindled, Alex pushed through until the chaotic singularity stabilized at last, shrinking into a deadly orb no larger than a green beam. A kilometer away, the muscular opponent froze in dread. His sharp eyes locked on the scene. Alex surrounded by floating debris, dripping blood, staining his blue eyes crimson, bodies strewn across the battlefield, and yet smiling. Then, with a thunderous blast, the black-red singularity surged toward him, faster than his vision could follow. By the time he reacted, it was already there. He raised the hand in instinct, but against the unleashed repulsive force of red, resistance meant nothing. He could only watch in horror as the black and red singularity tore through his arm, grinding it into dust before ripping clean through his chest and blasting backward. Boom! The force didn't stop there. It carved a trench over a kilometer long before finally fading. The strong man, obliterated. Time froze. Only Alex remained in motion, chest heaving. All eyes locked on the white-haired figure, drenched in blood yet terrifyingly composed. Was this even human? As Alex advanced toward the fully armed soldiers, it was they who stumbled back, not him. Shield agents, mutants, the Brotherhood, even stray civilian Saul bore witness to this surreal reversal. Laughing wildly, arms outstretched, his wounds knitting themselves closed, Alex took step after step forward. With every move, trained soldiers retreated, some tripping over rubble, slamming into stone, yet making no sound too terrified to draw his gaze. No one laughed, no one moved. Not until he vanished around a corner did the entire scene exhale at once, lungs burning, fear lingering even among the mutants. Right then, every major faction locked eyes on the same goal: get Alex on their side, because what they'd just seen confirmed it. He was a freshly awakened level 5 mutant, a walking power ship. In a dusty corner shop, a middle-aged man clutched his camera like gold, chest heaving he'd caught it all. That explosion in Manhattan, the clash of mutants, the white-haired force of nature tearing through chaos, Eddie Brock knew it would shatter the news cycle like a meteor strike. Meanwhile, Alex, bleeding and spent, ducked into an alley, ripped open a sewer grate, and vanished underground. Each step forward left a trail of blood. The cursed reversal red had drained more from him than expected, nearly hollowing out his core. If he hadn't healed himself just enough to fake strength, he'd have been toast against the armed units closing in. Without the limitless technique to shield him, even basic firearms could end him. He pressed deeper into the dark, body screaming, until the six eyes caught a flicker of danger ahead, but he had nothing left to answer it with. Just as instinct kicked in, Alex's body twisted mid-motion, narrowly dodging the razor-sharp blade that tore through the sewer's concrete like paper. Spinning around, he locked eyes with the attacker, a man in a skin-tight combat suit, hands bristling with daggers, and a bizarre target mark stamped across his forehead. Bullseye. Instantly, Alex knew this wasn't random. The man served a higher order, most likely under directives from Kingpin himself. That dagger just now? It had Bullseye's signature all over it. Anyone else would have been finished right there, but not Alex. Even with his energy nearly drained, the six eyes let him trace the arc of the strike with chilling precision. Still, the question burned: what gave Bullseye the nerve to go after him? Skill? Arrogance? Either way, As the assassin stared down the white-haired anomaly before him, even he had to admire the aim for the head, but Alex still moved, and that changed everything. Bullseye's daggers, forged partly from near-indestructible adamantium, screamed through the air at almost sonic speed, but the white-haired figure evaded them effortlessly, hinting at abilities beyond mere spatial control. Perhaps it was his physique, or something deeper still. In his prime, Bullseye wouldn't have dared approach this man, but now, things had changed. That last attack drained you, didn't it? Bullseye taunted, trembling with anticipation. You're slower now. If you were still at your peak, I'd be nothing but like this. Killing someone like you with my own hands, what a thrill. Yet his target remained eerily calm, untouched by the rising threat. That unsettling stillness sent a chill through Bullseye. He hurled his adamantium daggers, most missed, expertly dodged. One struck home, finally piercing his foe. The barrier was gone. Or so he thought. Alex, drained but defiant, powered up his body to evade the flurry of attacks. His 6 eyes locking onto the truth those blades weren't ordinary. Their brutal precision came from a rare, unbreakable alloy. But Alex didn't flinch. An assassin like this thought he could take him down? Please. Calmly, he asked. Kingpin sent you, didn't he? Silence. Bullseye answered with speed-faster throws, gunfire, but Alex danced through every move, his eyes decoding it all. No words were needed. His vision told him everything. Tell me where Kingpin is and I'll let you live, Alex offered. Bullseye laughed, attacking harder, jeering. You're barely holding on and you're sparing me? Pathetic! Then came the Finishera sudden rocket launcher. Boom. The explosion lit up the battlefield in fire and smoke, and for a moment, Bullseye thought he'd won. He should have been finished, no question. Even drained, that white-haired force of nature was a nightmare to handle. But just as victory lit up his face, a voice cracked through the flames like a gunshot. You seem quite happy? Think it's over? The smile vanished. Rubble shifted, walls buckled, and the voice came again, colder than before. One last chance. Give me Kingpin's location, and your end will be painless. Through the haze, Alex emerged untouched. Floating shards of metal suspended around him like they feared to strike. His hand was sunk into the wall, lights dimming as if the whole place knew who was in charge. And then, the wounds? Healing fast. Energy surged. Bullseye stared in disbelief. He was watching the impossible. Alex Locke, absorbing the city's power like a living circuit breaker. You've got another mutant ability? Realizing the nightmare unfolding, he spun on his heel and bolted panic in every step. No way he can recover energy that fast. Who could possibly stop him now? I'm done. Forget Kingpin lit, someone else get vaporized. But his escape ended before it began. A crushing force yanked him backward and inhuman, merciless. Despite his elite strength, Bullseye was dragged helplessly through the air, his body locked in a twisted marionette pose before Alex. Then came the pain limbs bending unnaturally under pressure he couldn't fight. In that same moment, a rocket launched, but Alex moved first. He absorbed the kinetic energy from soaring blades and sunlight midair, snapped into his limitless technique, punched through a concrete wall, and drained pure voltage from buried cables. Electricity surged through him, reigniting both the reverse cursed and limitless techniques, healing his body in a flash. Metal blades dropped from his freshly regenerated skin as if rejected by the universe itself. Alex stood untouched, unstoppable, reborn again. As Bullseye turned to flee, Alex grinned and casually raised a finger, saying just one word, blue. In a flash, Bullseye was yanked back and twisted into a grotesque knot, hanging helplessly. Alex leaned in, voice calm but charged with threat. So, have you reconsidered? Just tell me what I want to know, and I'll make it quick. Bullseye, staring at the white-haired figure with those cold azure eyes, glimpsed a flicker of something darker black and crimson dancing beneath the glow. In the next instant, Alex's power surged, leaving behind only the indestructible trace of adamantium proof the assassin knew nothing. Kingpin's whereabouts remained hidden, protected by daily moves and paranoid secrecy. But Alex, hands in pockets, walked through the aftermath unfazed. Blood and shrapnel rained behind him as the Six Eyes continued to evolve. Soon, with the city itself within his sight, even the elusive Kingpin would be no more than a target waiting to be erased. Do you like this personality? From the sewer walls, cables ripped free and began orbiting Alex under the pull of his gravitational power, each strand feeding him raw energy. Energy points +1. Energy points +1. Energy points +1. Energy absorption experience +1. Energy absorption experience +1. Energy absorption experience +1. His energy absorption skill ticked closer to level 3, just a few steps from evolution. Energy absorption line 2, 233 300ths. Capable of absorbing most energy types with average absorption speed and storage capacity. What would it become once it broke through? Would it mutate, transform, unlock something no one expected? Meanwhile, his six eyes surged with progress. These passive abilities were constant, efficient, always sharpening. As Alex trained in silence, mastering his powers in the shadows, the outside world erupted. Tony Stark reappeared after vanishing for months and shut down his weapons division, sending shockwaves through the economy. Then a rampaging green monster leveled Culver University, brushing aside military forces like toys. But none of that compared to the real head linear revelation that shattered everything people thought they knew about mutants. That day, the world was reminded of what it means to fear mutant domination. The chaos was captured exclusively by journalist Eddie Brock of the Daily Globe, who claimed to witness the clash firsthand, a brutal showdown between two mutants of staggering power. The stronger of the two, known only as the White Demon, overwhelmed his opponent, a physically enhanced mutant whom Brock described as on par with the green-skinned giant. Yet even he stood no chance. In his report, Brock introduced the concept of mutant power levels, arguing that the White Demon had undoubtedly reached level 5, possibly Omega level. He concluded with a chilling warning. The singularity unleashed by the White Demon, even in its unstable form, could rip through anything. And he's not even in full control yet. If mastered, this power could surpass even that of Magneto. The article sent shockwaves through society, with citizens questioning the government's claims. If mutants aren't dangerous, one comment read, then how do you explain that monster? Some trembled in fear. If he keeps getting stronger, he could wipe out humanity. The government needs to bring him in fast. Others, fanatics, knelt in awe. He's a god! A miracle sent to Earth. Worship him as our Lord. But rising from the digital shadows, a different voice surged the oppressed mutants, cloaked behind scrambled IPs, declared, "He's our savior, the leader we've been waiting for. They've experimented on us, hunted us, used us like weapons. He's the spark of our revolution. We'll follow him forever." In a lavish hideout buried deep in Hell's Kitchen, a brooding figure glared at the paper its front page, frozen on the scar of destruction left by the anomaly. He was just a mutant. How is he this powerful? With each tick of the clock and no sign of Bullseye, the unease thickened. Kingpin sat unmoving for 24 hours, locked in grim silence atop his underground throne, waiting for news that never came. As dawn crept across the skyline, the bitter truth settled in. Bullseye was gone, either defeated or dead. For the first time in decades, the kingpin of crime felt the cold bite of fear. Despite all his power, influence, and legacy, he was still just a man staring into the abyss, left by a being who moved like a god. High above the earth, in a colossal carrier, Nick Fury stared at a glowing screen, unmoving, unblinking, while Agent Coulson waited tensely beside him. Without warning, Fury snapped the file shut, eyes sharp as a blade. Agent Coulson, find him. Use whatever it takes. He's vital to the Avengers initiative. Yes, sir. As Coulson turned to leave, a gust from the ship's vents lifted the edge of the file, revealing chilling images. A spiraling void of blue and black, a crimson singularity, an unknown space weapon, and at the center of it all, the white-haired anomaly. Alone again, Fury's voice echoed, low and firm. A mutant like that doesn't belong in the wild. He belongs under us, in a dim, isolated facility under constant surveillance. Faint screams echo painful cries from test subjects caught in cruel experiments. Inside, Colonel Stryker slams a report on the desk, fury rising. Damn it! Mobilize more forces! Hunt that mutant anomaly down! Meanwhile, in the shadows of New York, two titanic forces convene. The X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants. A secret meeting between Professor X and Magneto could ignite a global crisis if exposed. Magneto, calm yet intense beneath his helmet, leans forward. Charles, if we wield his power, we can eliminate humanity and build a peaceful world for mutants alone. Professor X, eyes resolute, shakes his head. Eric, you're pushing too far. Do you like this personality? Humans and mutants, can they ever truly live in peace? Peace? Magneto scoffs, eyes cold with fury. You mean the government's endless torment? The twisted experiments? But his old friend stands firm. I will make them change. Magneto's disappointment cuts deep. Naive! Blood demands blood! Behind him, the Brotherhood watches, loyal and ready. But Professor X counters. That cruelty comes from a few, not all. You can't damn everyone for the sins of some. The X-Men mirror his conviction, placing their hope in his vision. The tension snaps. Magneto rises, storming out with his followers. I'll find him and show him the true path. Eric, Xavier warns, you know I'll stop you. Magneto's voice is steeled. Do your worst. While Alex plotted his future, unaware of the chaos beyond, his biggest challenge loomed. Energy. Unlocking templates drained him, skills burned through reserves, and his current method soaking up electricity wasn't just unstable, it risked exposure. Hunting for the Infinity Stones? Out of reach and too dangerous. His eyes locked on one goal, the arc reactor. Then, a breakthrough after constant electrical absorption, the system pinged. Congratulations, energy absorption is upgraded. With that, Alex hit level 3. Now he could absorb nearly all energy types, from nuclear to even magical forms, and at triple the speed. His limits just got pushed back. Way back. Alex's energy reserves just got a massive boost, 3 times the original capacity. That means he can now hold the limitless technique for a solid 30 minutes, fire off curse technique laps, blue over 6 times at full blast, or trigger the base level curse technique reversal, red 3 times. But here's the kicker. Red's minimum output is double blue's max, making it an absolute energy guzzler with explosive force to match. Still, Alex knows his earlier success with red was a flukian, unstable, half-finished move that bled energy like crazy. Using it twice would leave him drained, and the risk of stray energy hitting his brain isn't something he can ignore, especially since his regenerative skills aren't there yet. Until he fully unlocks Red's potential, it's a high-risk card best kept hidden. On the upside, his energy intake speed has skyrocketed, too fast enough to tank bullets from small rifles and absorb their momentum like it's nothing. That means sneak attacks are off the table now, even without Limitless active. Still, his current mastery of both Limitless and reverse curse techniques doesn't yet scratch the surface of Gojo level power. At that level, Alex could keep the Limitless technique running indefinitely, while reverse curse technique constantly repaired his mind and filtered out danger on its own. And if he pushed his mastery even higher, not even spatial rifts or toxins things that once slipped past Gojo would phase him. With each evolution, Alex wasn't just catching up to Gojo, he was leaving him behind, eyeing a peak the sorcerer had never touched. The idea thrilled him. One day, activating a dimensional travel template, stepping into the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, and taking down that version of Gojo with his own systemate would be hilarious. Fully charged with electrical energy, his fusion climbed to 27% before he emerged from the sewer into a hidden alley. Just as he was about to find new clothes, he locked eyes with a stunned girl. Disheveled, green-haired, clearly shaken, but through the 6 eyes, he saw what lay beneath. Surging green energy and metallic elements waiting for a signal. He knew her instantly, Polaris. Daughter of Magneto, mistress of magnetism, capable of bending the planet's magnetic field when at full strength. What were the odds of meeting her here? But then again, this wasn't the Marvel Universe he remembered, this was a parallel one, and in it, anything was possible. In a world where alternate realities collide like shattered glass, nothing surprises anymore. Alex, the white-haired mutant whispered about in fear and awe, had no interest in confronting Polaris. But she wasn't about to let him walk away. She saw more than a man, she saw the most powerful mutant alive. Feared by the world, revered by his kind, and possibly stronger than Magneto himself. When he turned to leave, Polaris acted on instinct, hurling a metal pipe to block Heim only to watch it freeze midair, powerless before him. Her shock turned to exhilaration. If he was this strong, maybe he really could lead mutants to freedom. But just as hope flickered in her eyes, Alex turned. Those cold blue eyes void of warmth locked onto her, and it felt like death itself was breathing down her neck. Then came the voice, low and final. Isn't it good to continue living? That one sentence shattered her thoughts, leaving her trembling in the silence that followed. She spoke quickly, her voice trembling. I mean you no harm. I just want to fight the human government with you. But Alex didn't even glance at her. Step by slow step, he moved forward, each movement radiating pressure like a collapsing star. The closer he got, the more it felt like the air itself turned hostile, forcing her to react. Instinctively, she launched a barrage of metal at him, but it all crashed to the ground, inert, repelled by an invisible force. In that moment, she understood. This wasn't just another mutant. This was something else, entirely in existence that bent reality. Desperate, she poured all her power into stopping him, but it was like trying to halt a tidal wave with bare hands. He reached her, cornering her with sheer presence, pinning her to the wall without lifting a finger. Then, in one swift motion, he gripped the largest metal pipe nearby, channeled a storm of energy through his arm, and hurled item bedding it deep into the wall beside her ear. The message was chillingly clear. Next time, you won't be so lucky. Do you like this personality? With a casual flick of his finger, the metal around Polaris defied her control, slamming into the walls and sealing her in a cage of steel. Alex yawned, turned, and walked away at the same unhurried pace he arrived, his stride long and effortless. Polaris, desperate and shaken, summoned her voice. "You're so strong, you could save the mutants. Why won't you help?" For a heartbeat, silence hung in the air. Then, his voice drifted back cool and indifferent. "They're suffering? What does that have to do with me?" Turning his head slightly, the white-haired figure flashed a faint smile, sapphire eyes gleaming. "Don't try to tie me down with morality. I don't have any." Chapter 15. More. Without a glance back, Alex slipped on his sunglasses and stepped onto the street. Whispers buzzed instantly. "White hair, sunglasses. Is that him?" One bystander scoffed. "Nah, just a wannabe. No way that's the real deal." Confused, Alex paused. White-haired mutant? Then he looked up, saw the massive screen flashing footage, and in a single moment, everything clicked. On the screen, a man in his 30s declared with dramatic flair, "I was hiding just 10 meters away from the white-haired mutant during his clash with another Mutantes definitely stronger than Magneto, the most powerful one out there." Watching this unfold, Alex Locke felt a headache incoming. Really? Strongest in the world? Sure, maybe someday, but not now. His current power wasn't immune to mental attacks, and there were still monsters like the Phoenix Host way above his level. How was he supposed to evolve in peace if people were already labeling him as the top dog? Then his eyes fell on the name tag, Eddie Brock. That name rang a bell. After a moment, it clicked Venom's guy. Shaking his head, Alex turned his attention toward the tallest skyscraper in Manhattan. Tuning out the noise, in the shadow of Manhattan's skyline stood Stark Tower, iconic, untouchable, and glowing with the promise of power. For Alex, it wasn't just a landmark, it was a target. To get his hands on an arc reactor, he'd need to face Tony Stark himself. No safer shortcut than walking straight into the heart of the storm. Timing was everything, and Tony had just returned seconds away from clashing with Obadiah Stane. If Alex stepped in and saved him mid-chaos, surely that'd be worth an arc reactor, right? But if not, well, Stark always had a spare on him. With his white hoodie up and his aura dimming the light around him, Alex advanced steadily. Energy from the environment imperceptible to others flowed into him in pulses, guided by his level 2 Six Eyes and level 3 energy absorption. Slower than direct contact, but endlessly renewable, it fed his strength and sharpened his endurance. Inside his system, the quiet chime of progress echoed energy point +1, Six Eyes experience +1, energy absorption experience +1. Stark Tower loomed above tallest in the Upper East Side, crowned with a duckbill top as bold as the man who built it. By the time Alex arrived, the city had gone dark. The real game was just beginning. He approached the entrance with purpose, but the guards were quick to intercept. "Sir, Idaho please," they asked, firm but polite. Alex didn't have one, of course, yet he kept his cool. "I have urgent business with Tony Stark." "Please inform him," he said, dead serious. The guards blinked, exchanged glances trying not to burst out laughing. One of them, half smiling, replied, "Sir, it's not April Fool's Day." Alex sighed, ran a hand through his stark white hair, and muttered, "This isn't a joke." As the tension thickened and the guards began to shift into serious mode, clearly pegging him as a problem, Alex prepared to unleash just a taste of what he could dow in suddenly. A convoy rolled in. Doors opened. A figure stepped out, flanked by men in black, cold and silent as shadows. They saw the chaos at the entrance but didn't flinch whatever was happening. It wasn't their priority. bursting through the doors. Alex instantly locked eyes on the woman leading the charged golden hair, black dress, unmistakable. It had to be her. "Guess it's my turn to save a savior," he murmured, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. But the moment shifted. Security moved in, slow and cautious. Alex slid off his round sunglasses, revealing those electric blue eyes. The guards froze, memories of headlines flashing in their minds. The white-haired anomaly. As their consciousness faded, they caught the glint of a smirk and a quiet, almost polite farewell. "Sorry, gentlemen, but please rest for a while." Meanwhile, the woman and her team advanced, breaking into Section 16 with a swift blast from a compact explosive. Do you like this personality?